Hello Neppers, it is me, Wild Neptune, and in this video, we're going over the balance updates that will be going live in a couple of weeks, so right after the World Arena season ends. Before we get into that though, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and follow me at Twitch, twitch.tv/WildNeptune. It helps out a lot. Now, we have 8 heroes, 2 artifacts. So, they are Martial Artist Ken, Operator Secret, okay, Holiday Fiend, Violet, Elena, Sid, Helga, Mercenary Helga. Alright, so, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it's really 7 heroes, but also Doctor's Bag. Hey, I just pulled the Doctor's Bag. And Jumpers of the Hollow, which I don't actually know what that does. All right, let's go to Emerald Ken. So Dragon's Flame, which is his S2. It's gaining a 30% ER boost. So ER is the current meta build for Emerald Ken. I say meta like Emerald Ken is a meta hero right now, but if you do see an Emerald Ken, it is probably going to be on ER, at least at higher rankings. It's also gaining, when the Covenant of Ashura, which is his S3, is available, increased combat randomness by 25%. Okay, so a lot of Emerald Kens are being built slow, so this will be available for quite a while. And his Covenant of Ashura is also being buffed, so he's gaining a 5% increase to decrease defense, okay, and will always crit on a successful attack. So this basically means as long as he doesn't miss, it'll crit. That's good. So, Now, one thing you have to think about here is that a lot of Emerald Kens just actually don't want to take their turn, because that means they might lose something like their immunity buff. Yes, they do get the attack buff to make up for it, and also the defense down, but maybe with the increased ER, they don't really care as much that they're losing the immunity. Now, dedicated debuffers like Cerise, mainly, are still gonna have a field day with Emerald Kens, right? But he does gain more resilience to things like, say, a Tywin, or maybe even like light debuffers that might have, maybe screwed him over a little bit. I don't see him being used anywhere where he hasn't before. He's just a lot better at what he can currently do. Notably, this doesn't actually increase his survivability, which is another one of his problems, that because of the way that Frenzy works, a lot of the times you can just kind of ignore Emerald Ken and kill him when you get to like Frenzy 3 or 4, which this doesn't actually address. But with teams that rely on AoEs and have to use them a lot, he can see a little bit of play. Also though, things like those can't be countered stuff, like Glandy, still exists. And other things too, like LQC is still very strong. And again, this hasn't increased his survivability, so that's still going to be, a minor issue. I would say that these are really good changes for him, but... And because he doesn't need crit chance or speed, you are kind of free to build a lot more bulk. Maybe you lower his attack a little bit, and you stack the ER a little bit more to survive those debuffs. But I still think he's probably at best only going to be a niche tech option with these changes, but at the very least a viable one. So Operator Sigrid, I don't know why she was buffed, but let's read it. So her S1, wait, this is her S2. So it's getting speed scaling. Okay. And her S3 is... So, CR decrease, the AoE with attack buff. When the target is granted a barrier, which I believe means if they already have a barrier, or if they gained it from the attack. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Ignores ER. So it always... Okay, so... That just means that she won't get 15%ed most of the time. And damage dealt increases the portrait of the caster's speed. Okay, so you can also get speed scaling. This is one of those things where on paper, it's good, right? But in practice, in the way that her drafts go, I don't know really how much it makes it more consistent in what she does. And she was already very good. Operator Sigrid, in my opinion, is the best anti-cleaver in the game. So cleave teams draft her, not just because of her like utility with attack buff and CR and like CR, stuff like that, but also because she kind of ruins a lot of the anti-cleave options right now that are in the game. But when you draft something like FCC into her, a lot of the times, you almost have to ban her, like, in the way that a lot of drafts go. And... yes, you know, you don't get the chance for the 15%, but... I'm not really sure how much this actually changes when you're actually having fights. Yes, it is going to increase your win rate because of the fact that the randomness is gone when you draft like FCC and like Emerald Crow into her. But if you see her, you're not drafting, you know, those two units anyway. I don't think. So it's just one of those things where I'm not sure this actually matters that much, but at the same time, why? Holiday Euphine. So, just one bite. Is there S1? And it's getting a 15% more chance to burn? Okay. Her S2, which is the passive. So she's gaining a 20% evasion bonus on top of the 50% she already has, which is at max health. So 20% base all the time. That's pretty good. That's basically a built-in MODB, you know, without the attack buff, but she gives us a gab anyway. Is Fat Cat meta gonna be a thing? Like, is Evasion Squad going to be an actual build coming up? Who knows? And her S3, the soul burn is changing. 10 souls in skill cooldowns increased by 2 turns. Wow. Her S3 is her S3 is very strong. It is a 2 debuff cleanse on all allies with a CR push, and it gives her gab. I believe her S3 is 4 turns. So this is what? It's every other turn now? Right? So she basically has, so she can basically sober it for like perma-gab with the, wow. That is very good. Okay. So these buffs here, they don't really change her use cases. And again, like Obsidian buffs, it doesn't really change what she's good or like bad against. You still can't use her against stuff like ML Crow, right? And SSB is probably also like not the best option. But with those two units, kind of, you know, middling to like maybe middle high in the meta right now, she might start seeing a little bit more usage. Definitely with stuff like Bazaar being fairly popular. The evasion too is kind of key also, because a lot, like, maybe she'll like dodge the pushback from Obsidian, and she can just push her team back up and be like, maybe she's even going to be a anti-cleaver, more so than she was before. I can definitely see like a lot of utility builds around Holiday Euphine in the future, especially with the way that I think Smilegate is trying to push the meta. And I'm happy for her. Holiday Euphine, character-wise, is one of my favorites. Her and, you know, Base Euphine too. I think Smilegate does a really good job with her characterization. So Violet. Alright, so S1. When it's not the caster's turn, increase CR by 15% and gain double amount of focus. Okay, so as we know, Violet does counter and has a built-in counter mechanic. And just, well, synergizes with that. Okay, so Duel Accepted. So grants Perception for 3 turns after dispelling 2 buffs. Okay, and Perception. It increases quick hit and damage by 15%. Can't be dispelled. And he gains 1 more soul. Okay, so it's just a unique buff for him. Where is his? I'm assuming his evasion is going to be on his next skill. Yep. When Butterfly Cut is available, increases evasion by 35% after evading counterattacks with Grateful Cut. Alright, so now instead of having to use his S2, he has the evasion bonus right from the start, but as a trade-off, he can't use his S3 right away, otherwise he loses the evasion. Well, he can use it right away, but he does lose the evasion bonus when he does that. But he can get his S3 back quickly when he has the focus gain, right? So it's kind of a little more thinking involved in when to use his S3 versus anything else, right? Probably still hold it, but I like this change. Wait. Oh, God damn it, Premiere. Why did it do that? No, don't, like, I don't want to save, I don't want to save it yet. Okay. Anyway, before it's so rudely interrupted by, my editing software, I like this change. It fixes his S2 Molagora problem, and it adds a little more variance to what you might do with him. Elena. So Elena's gaining 20% up from 15% on AoE damage decrease from damage. And she is gaining, what is this here? Before increasing, okay. So she's gaining a built-in tome. I believe tome is 30% at max. I'm not sure if this stacks or not. So even this end tome, does she get a 50% CR boost? That's Because if she does, that's insane. I So this change here, which I don't think she actually, again, I don't think she really needed, but I think this is a change they're doing specifically to answer the way that they're trying to push the meta. Because Cleave, I believe, is the next like thing they want to have as the premier like composition in the next few months. If you follow a history of how they've been like doing RTA, or sorry, World Arena, as they want us to call it, it's been Bruiser, it went into Knights, we're in like things went to like protect the DPS. Now it's like hyper offensive buff meta, and they've been pushing it more towards Cleave recently. And with stuff coming out like Straws, by the way, video on that coming out, you know, in about a week or so, I feel like this is an answer to that, especially because she doesn't give a barrier, which means that she might be good into stuff like Sigrid, and she can do things too, like maybe cut in front of like CDOMs with the CR push, depending if the stacks or not. I definitely feel like this buff is simply to get ready to have a... Maybe she might even become the premier defensive counter to Cleave teams in the future. Sid. Alright, so attacks with a Relentless Strike. Attacks with the dagger, okay, it's speed scaling like Sid has. When he has increased speed, uses Whirlwind instead of Relentless Strike. And Whirlwind decreases defense for a turn. Okay. And then his other skill, a critical hit will increase speed for attacks. Okay, so he gets a speed buff, yeah, and which synergizes with his Relentless Strike, with a 100% chance to grant a random buff for a turn. And can be granted once per turn. So increases critical hit damage, effectiveness, evasion, and debuff immunity. Okay, and I believe this effect chance is makes this 100%. So let me actually look at Sid here, because I haven't actually looked at him in a while, or ever, if I'm completely honest with you. So let me find him here. Okay. Now, he is losing the damage increase on the S1, which some people might see as kind of a downgrade, but at the same time, I think the other bonuses he's getting more than makes up for it. And finally, we have Helga. So we'll skip to the specially changed version. 6% chance. Okay, so this skill, she now has a... I don't even know if this is her S1 or S2. I'm completely honest with you here. But it's gaining a decreased defense with 2 turns. And this is her S3. So, okay, she's getting a CR boost by 50% for the caster. So she can boost her allies' attacks and effectiveness, and then maybe combo that in with a quick defense break, which is nice. And then Wedge Rune. Okay, when using an attack chain, if all allies are Earth Elemental heroes, of course they keep that in, increases the chance of decreased defense by 20%, so it makes it an 80% decrease for 2 turns. Okay, it'll make it more consistent for PvE content. Like, any of these that have, like, elemental restrictions, where you have to have a whole party, again, it is going to be a PvE only thing, because you're never going to draft 4, 5 grass units, you know, in a real World Arena match, right? But okay. Alright, the artifacts. Doctor's Bag. So now it's going from... Okay, so 20% down to 14. But... So now instead of using a skill 3 times, you can use it once, and you get the bonus right away. And instead of once per battle, it is once every 3 turns. So it actually has value in longer fights. One of the problems here is that in longer drawn-out fights, Doctor's Bag was really bad, because it didn't do anything after a while. This one, though, actually, is going to be useful a few turns later. I wonder who would use this, though. Probably units that have non-attack skills that kind of have cooldowns that line up well with Doctor's Bag, right? Because the key here is not actually the heal, I believe. It is to dispel 1 debuff from all allies, right? Otherwise, you just use Rod over this all the time. So, again, I pulled the Doctor's Bag recently, so maybe I'll be able to test this out a little bit. And Shepherds of the Hollow, which I didn't know what it does, but I see here it increases evasion by 20%. And, okay, so the change, that's the same, but they're changing the damage increase by 12% at a base. Okay. And its health decreases. Okay, so basically it's getting the Kayron. So this is Kayron's artifact, I believe, and it's gaining the Kayron effect, where you get a bonus damage increase as your health goes lower. This is a thief artifact, by the way, and max 24%. And I believe that is when you're at 25% health or below. Which makes it basically a better portrait, I believe. Now, with evasion chance. Now, is this better than Dreamblade? Because Dreamblade gives an attack buff. Well, you'll have to, like, crunch numbers for that. I'm not actually sure. Advantages here is that this decrease can't be dispelled. Disadvantages are you have to have lower health. And a lot of times Dreamblade units will want to have, like, be bulky. So they're not going to always get to, like, the low health that this might require to get the full benefit. You know, but you know, maybe it'll have usage. Unfortunately, it's an artifact that scales very well with imprints. So probably not. At least the evasion, though, is at base 20%. Oh, wait. Wait, it didn't always do that? Okay. Okay, so, like, this here is kind of, like, not misleading, right? It just doesn't tell the whole story. Okay, anyway, okay. This is a big change, though. Having a base 20%, is... Okay, never mind. This is a big improvement over this. It was already a good improvement, but the fact that it didn't have a base 20% evasion bonus is a huge change. It makes it much more usable. Again, not sure if it's better than MLDB or not, but we'll have to see. Anyway, those are the balance changes. A lot of kind of middling ones. I believe a lot of them are to get ready for the upcoming meta shift that they want to push in the future. Be on the lookout for a lot more of these units popping up here and there. I do think, though, a lot of them are still going to be tech options. So, like, anti-meta stuff, right? Besides Op Secret. Like, Op Secret is still going to be used the way she was used before. Ammo Ken, again, going to be used same way he was before, just be a little bit better at this. And maybe Doctor's Bag is no longer the worst artifact in the game? Anyway, I'm Wild Neptune. It's been a good one. Nep out.